Nobody talks about the goalkeeper until something goes wrong. That is the rule. That is the unspoken contract between a goalkeeper and the sport that needs them. Stay invisible. Do your job. Do not exist unless you have to. And yet, when you actually study what decides football matches at the highest level, you keep arriving at the same uncomfortable truth. The loneliest player on the pitch is also the most powerful one. Not the striker, not the playmaker, the goalkeeper. Here is why that matters more than you think. In 2022, researchers at the University of Innsbruck published a study analyzing over 10,000 professional matches across Europe's top 5 leagues. They were looking for the single variable that most consistently predicted a team's final league position across a full season. Not possession, not shots on target, not pressing intensity. It was goalkeeper performance above expected goals. In plain English, how much better or worse a goalkeeper performed compared to what the statistics said they should have saved. Teams with elite performing goalkeepers finished, on average, 8 places higher in the table than their outfield stats alone would have predicted. 8 places. In a 20-team league, that is the difference between a title and mid-table. Between European football and relegation, 8 places from one player who barely touches the ball. Think about what that means for everything you thought you understood about football. For decades, the goalkeeper was treated as a specialist, a necessary presence, someone you found, trained separately from the rest of the squad, and largely left alone. Coaches built systems around their outfield players and asked the goalkeeper to deal with whatever got through. The goalkeeper was the last line, passive, reactive, waiting. Then something changed. And the man who changed it was a goalkeeper who never won a World Cup, never played in a Champions League final, and spent most of his career at clubs most football fans outside Germany had never heard of. His name was Jens Lehmann. And in the early 2000s, working under Arsene Wenger at Arsenal, Lehmann started doing something that no goalkeeper had systematically done before. He started talking, not shouting, not barking instructions in the chaos of a corner kick. Talking, constantly. Before the ball arrived, during the build-up, as the opposition shaped to shoot. He narrated what he saw. He called the positioning of his defenders out loud in real time. He created, in effect, a second brain for the team operating from the one place on the pitch that could see everything. Wenger later said in his autobiography that Lehmann's communication transformed how Arsenal's defensive line behaved. The back four stopped making individual decisions and started making collective ones, because Lehmann was feeding them information they could not gather themselves from their own position. He was not just saving shots, he was preventing them. This is what modern football science calls the sweeper-keeper evolution. But the sweeper-keeper label is almost too simple. What it really describes is a goalkeeper who has accepted a completely different psychological contract with the game. Old goalkeepers feared mistakes above everything. Every action was a potential error. Stay on your line. Do not commit. Let the moment come to you. The fear of doing something wrong was bigger than the desire to do something right. Modern elite goalkeepers operate from the opposite position. They fear inaction more than error. They understand that a goalkeeper who dominates their box, who steps to crosses before they arrive, who rolls the ball quickly to trigger a press, who distributes like a midfielder, is not just saving goals. They are generating them at the other end. By being active, they are creating the seconds of time and the meters of space that eventually become an attacking opportunity 60 yards away. Manuel Neuer, at his peak between 2012 and 2016, was the clearest expression of this. Sports scientist Dr. Martin Lehmann at the Technical University of Munich tracked Neuer's positioning data across 3 Bundesliga seasons and found that Neuer's average starting position when Bayern had the ball was 15 meters further forward than any goalkeeper in the league's history had ever recorded. 15 meters. He was essentially a third center back who occasionally used his hands. But the most remarkable thing about Neuer was not where he stood. It was what happened to the players around him. Bayern's outfield defenders took more risks in possession because they knew Neuer was covering space behind them that no goalkeeper in football had ever covered before. The entire team played more aggressively because one man had expanded what was possible at the back. One goalkeeper, 8 places in the table, an entire team playing differently because of where one person decided to stand. So why does none of this show up in the way fans talk about football? Because goalkeepers are invisible when they are doing their job correctly. Every interception Neuer made before a shot was taken looked like nothing. It looked like a goalkeeper jogging to collect a ball that went out of play. The danger it prevented was theoretical. The goal it stopped never existed as a visible event. Football is a sport that runs on visible events. Goals, shots, tackles, dribbles. The things you can point to on a screen and say, that is what decided the match. The goalkeeper's most important actions are the ones that never become visible events at all. The cross they claimed before the striker arrived. The distribution that launched a counterattack in 3 seconds. The voice that pushed a defender 2 meters to the left and meant the through ball never found its target. You cannot put a camera on any of that. You can only measure it afterward, in the data, in the league table, in the pattern of results across an entire season. And when you do measure it, you find the same thing every time. The loneliest player controls everything. You have watched thousands of hours of football. You have argued about strikers and midfielders and tactics and formations, and the whole time, standing at the edge of your attention, doing the work that made all of it possible, was the one player you only noticed when something went wrong. Maybe that is exactly how they wanted it. Make sure to like and subscribe to Kickoff Moments for more football content like this.